When
Well,
hungry,
let me
go,
challenge that a little bit. There's
go ahead.
truth to that, but I'm going to challenge you because we all have characteristics. So if you're 13 years old, I would give you that. But if you meet a guy, what I'm saying is because he doesn't know who he is. He hasn't created a pattern yet. But if you're meeting a guy at 35, he has certain patterns, right? So in this conversation, I already know I don't think you are ready to be committed to one vagina, right? It's not a bad thing. But what I've gotten is if I was to date you, if any woman is to date you, she should know going in, more than likely, she's not going to be the only person you're having sex with. Because in this conversation, that's kind of what you do. But it's not a bad thing. We're not here judging. So now as
Right.
a woman, I have to decide, am I okay with that? And if
Yeah.
I'm okay with that, then I could proceed forward, date you, and let life go as it is. But if I know that I'm not comfortable with sleeping with a man who I know is going to sleep with other women, then I have to be responsible for my decision. So
That's
what I'm
right.
saying is we all have characteristics, and that's why it's important to ask questions. Like I'm asking you direct. If we were dating, I wouldn't ask like this. I would figure it out in other ways. But I do like the question of when was the last time you were committed? Because I met men who have always been single, like they've never had a girlfriend, but they're having sex, of course. They're just men who can have sex without relationships. So
Yeah.
that guy, if you want to be in a relationship, 9 times out of 10, he's not trying to be in a relationship.
Nah, he wants you to be around
He wants, of
for,
course, he wants you to be
he wants you to
around.
be around, especially if you're dope. And listen, it, there's some women that I see sometimes and we have a best time. And I say, you know why we have a great time? Because I'm not around you a lot. Because it's like it's special. I bet you, I'm not saying, but what if I wasn't, if I was around you all the time, every day? I don't think it would be as fun. I don't know. I don't know. I'm a pretty fun dude. I'm a pretty fun dude. I can be annoying sometimes, but the one thing about me is I don't smother people. I believe in people having their own solid time, have your own friends, full
Mhm.
circle type shit, not this half circle shit. I believe in full circle, be a
Right.
full person and all this. And yeah, I think that some of the girls I date, I'll be like, yo, what's up? And they're all happy to see me. I said, because I'm not around.
Right.
If I was around, you'd be like, what? It would turn into, yes, what? But the fact that
I agree with that.
there's something about scarcity, man. I don't know what it is, but I've always been a scarce person. That's why if a woman says, oh, you call too much, I go, you're lying. That's not me. Everybody knows I don't call anybody that much. Unless the only time I'll call you a bunch of times is if I have to meet you somewhere and we're trying to coordinate something. But I just naturally do not call people a lot like that. When a woman says, oh, you sweating me, I go, no, you're a weirdo and you tricked me into getting your number, and then you trying to play me because listen, I got celebrity status. There's levels. There's the Kevin Hart's. I'm a celebrity status. So you got my number just so you can see me chase you. Those games I don't fucking play. I don't do that to me because with this Me Too shit going on nowadays, they can accuse you of aggressive calling next minute.
Right.
He aggressively called me. He sent the wrong emoji. Arrest him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I'm from the old school Nigerian parents, and my father used to say, "You are supposed to talk to the woman. That's your job as a man.
Hmm.
You go over. It doesn't matter what their attitude, whatever. You go over. She don't have them coming to you." I used to get lucky though, and when I was in Chicago, the girls that I dated approached me where I was just chilling, and they were like,
Well, women,
"Hey."
I think women are always going to approach you. I mean, you're a celebrity, so you're never going to have a drop
This
of
was before. This was even in college when I was just a broke college student. The girl that I was digging, she told somebody she was feeling me, and I just went over there. We were in a snack shop, and I was just like, "Hey, what's going on?" It was easy.
Mhm.
I never really had to bust my ass to get a chick. Like I always got lucky through a friend, just fortunate.
Right.
But I do put effort in, but I don't, if someone doesn't like me, I keep it moving. All right, bet. I'm out. I don't even try. I don't do that shit.
I want to add into that because I was going to say that's where, first of all, I'm not a dating coach or expert, but I've been hosting a dating show for over a year and a half. So I've
Yeah.
learned a lot and then my own experience. But one thing you just said is I believe men have dating rights. I don't agree with men sleeping with multiple women, But ultimately, men date, and then they might meet a girl that they think is doper than all the other girls, and they just say, you know what? I just want to rock with you. I don't want to talk to somebody else. Women meet a guy, and we make you husband. You might not be husband. You might not be there for me. You might not ever call. We're only texting. You don't like my kids, but I have made up in my mind you're my husband, so I cut all other options off, and I spend all my time focusing on you, and that's the worst thing you can do. Yeah, guys like women that feel like they with them because they want to be, not because they're desperate or need to be. Yeah. And I always tell women, you should be dating. I don't believe in sleeping with multiple men. I want to get that out there. But you should always make it clear, like, you're not always available. You're not my girlfriend. I'm not your girlfriend. So you can't just call me whenever you want to call me last minute and I'm available and I show up and I'm there. Those are girlfriend, whatever you want to call it, wife, whatever that title is for you, benefits. We're friends, so treat him as a friend. But women don't do that. They are like, oh, whatever you want. And then what you're doing, what I've been realizing is you're lowering your attraction level to that guy because he feels like, guys like something that everybody wants. So date, don't sleep with, but date men. And don't tell the guy you're dating to date that you're dating other people. Just be out doing you. You don't owe anybody an explanation. You're a grown-ass woman. And that's where the game got messed up. And just, I was going to say something too. And another thing too is it's nice because when I was in relationships, I used to lie. You end up getting caught. I used to do all that shit constantly. And then one day I just said, from one of my girlfriends, she was like, just fucking tell the truth, man. But the reason why people lie is because they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. They're like, man, I like being with this chick, but if I say I'm going to do this and that, then she'll go. And I don't want, you're trying to be greedy. Right. And then when you get caught, it's the worst. So now I've been so honest. Even on my lives, I've been so honest. But it's so funny when I'll go, hey, this is me. I'm just being honest. Do you have sex with other? I go, yeah, I do. I mean, it's not like every single minute I'm fucking, but I'm just being honest with you, you know? Right. And then they'll be like, thank you for telling me. But then they complain a little bit. And I go, I just told you the truth. I told you the truth. Like this is, and I don't want to be inconsiderate. I don't want to be that guy. You inconsiderate and hurt people. I don't do that. Here's my problem too. One night stands, every once in a while I'll do that. But I treat them right. I call them, hey, how you doing? You call to make sure she got home safely. Man, I'll call them next day. How you been? And I don't treat one night stands like fuck you. I'm intellectual, so I like to talk about different things. I like to help out. And I try to say, hey, you should read this book and this. And they start liking you. Like, no. And then when you treat them like that, they get disappointed when you say you don't want a commitment. They're even angrier because you connected. Because women are more mental. Mm-hmm. Women like the mental shit, the emotional shit. That's you know what I'm saying? Other than of course they like the physical, but the mental shit is what they really, really embrace. You know. So what I had to learn, you got to learn yourself, right? Every woman's different. I have women that come on my shoulder like, I want a guy that, I have two men. You know, I don't want to be one guy. Like, every woman's different. So the reason I learned these steps is because, you know, I work in entertainment. So mostly every man I've ever dated is successful to a certain degree. Like, that's just the world that I live in. And a lot of those guys, because they have so many options, just cannot commit to a vagina, right? He will treat me right, take me out on a date, be there. But it feel like, I remember I dated an athlete, and he literally told me I was selfish because I wanted him all to myself. I didn't want him to sleep with his baby mama too. And I was selfish for wanting him when he is a man to a lot of people. And he literally believed that though. And I had to sit back. I was mad. You never heard of man of the people? Go ahead. I was like, but you know what? This is crazy to me. But that's really the way he feels. So what you gonna do? You're not gonna change him. So you're gonna change yourself because you're not changing him. And I think what I had to learn, that's why I asked the question about can you only, like, is it okay? So like I had a guy that, this is a true story. I don't feel like I'm the prettiest girl in the world. I mean, I'm successful and I think I'm attractive. Yeah, you can get it. You can get it though. I'm gonna keep it real. But what I mean is, you know, like we said, beauty is, I mean, no disrespect, but yeah, you can get it though. You can get it though. I appreciate that.
That was some real shit, though.
Shut up, Godfrey.
Okay.
But what I was gonna say is, there's not an ex-boyfriend that I had that does not want me back. I mean, from 14 years old, my boyfriend from 14 years old wish he could still have me. And really, the secret is that I be going for real. Like, I'm going for real. Like your friend you were talking about. That's why I asked you, what's her dating situation? Because I wonder. You don't know, but I wonder. Does she ever desire to get married herself? Does she ever desire?
No, this was funny about my ex-girlfriend. Didn't want kids because she
Okay.
had really younger brothers, so she take care. She was like, oh, ugh. She doesn't want kids. She doesn't care about marriage. She doesn't care about any of those. That's why I had a very unconventional sort of, and I was like, whatever, cool. I mean, whatever. And they said, do you want kids? I go, I'm neither here nor there. My sister has 3 children. My brother doesn't have any kids. But I'm neither here nor there. I like, kids are cool, but in this business, like I look at Kevin. I was just with Kevin Hart 2 nights ago, and we were doing a show in New York.
Was it Charlemagne show?
No. We're doing the Comedy Cellar, working on jokes and shit.
Okay.
And so I look at Kevin and go, he had kids early, but he's such a mogul now. It doesn't matter. He can have 10 kids,
right?
But he can pay for them. Like me, I'm like, I'm doing pretty good. But would I do pretty good if a kid showed up? And I still have goals to reach. Even though I've been in the business a long time, I still got certain goals to reach that I know I'm an unconventional dude when it comes to this Hollywood shit, because I don't do what everybody wants me to do. As a Black comedian, I'm not always fitting in the schematic of success. They're like, oh, this dude be talking about race, and he be speaking up for Black women. We'll make it a little more difficult. You think about it. There's a lot of cats that are really successful because they don't rock the boat.
Right.
I kind of rock the boat, a little bit. And there's some goals that I want to reach financially. I want to reach, status-wise more, so I can have power to do other shit. And I go, if I had a kid now, what would it be like? I don't know. Would the hustle change? I don't know. But I just happen to not have children right now. I wouldn't mind donating sperm to somebody, say, I want you to, okay, I could be a father from afar away. I can do that. I know some women that were like, I'll have your kid. You don't have to take care of it. I just want your genes. I've had that. I still have those offers on the table. I'll do that. If I have to, I'll go, well, fuck it.
Listen, you know what? It depends on what kind of father you want to be. And it's funny you say this, right? Because we interviewed Iman Shumpert today, who he's going to be on Dancing with the Stars. Iman Shumpert's doing Dancing with the Stars right now.
Yeah.
So
cool.
the finale airs on Monday. But we were talking about him doing this in the midst of, playing basketball. And he was just saying that he would get teams, like, it's one of those worlds where he wasn't getting signed, but he might get signed, right? It's like, we're not signing you, but we might sign you. But he has 2 kids. He's like, I just can't be away from my kids because you might sign me. Like, if I'm going to leave my kids for a certain amount of months, it has to be a guarantee. So until something's guaranteed, I'm going to go do this. So I just brought that up to say, if you want to be that kind of father, absolutely your kids will make different decisions. I think rightfully so. But it is funny, like, speaking of, I work with Leon Rogers in Chicago, extremely successful. Shout out to Leon.
I just talked to Leon the other day.
Yeah, and he's married to his wife. I want to say they might have like 15 years, 3 children, beautiful family.
Awesome.
And he never went to LA, but he's very successful in Chicago. Then I look at the other comedians from Chicago who did go well and moved to LA, like Deion Cole, D-Ray, Little Rel, all of them, but they're not married. So I do think there is something that does play on that career journey, unless you're set up in a way where you're so rich like Jay-Z that and Beyonce's rich though too. So
See, not everybody's going to get that.
Right.
Not everybody's going to get that kind of, and so that's why when people say, why don't you have that? I go, there's some goals that I have, and I guess I'm more focused because sometimes for men, it takes us to get a little older to be a little more focused. And I'm like, I have a path that especially the thing that has changed the business is Instagram and all this. It's social media has changed the game drastically. I still do the conventional audition. I tap dance here and there to get a role on a part, I do that. I never leave a stone unturned. I still do the traditional audition for this, go in and see what happens. But then I make my way. I'm building my social media. I gained 300,000 new followers over the pandemic, you know, and when I go on the road, I'm packing rooms that I used to not really pack. Now they're packed because of social media. It wasn't anything else. I wasn't on a TV show. I mean, I always still did TV here and there, but it's a combination of, you know, doing sketches with King Batch and his crew and just, you know, being a little bit smarter. Social media has made me smarter. Like, okay, no, I know what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. This is going to be my hook. It's like what you're doing.
Right.
You know, this is what it is now. You can literally be a TV show without asking anybody. You can be, you know, I have my own goddamn TV show on a phone. Like, you know, I got hundreds of fans. Like, I can do a live podcast. I do a podcast. It's called In Godfrey We Trust on the Gas Digital Network on Tuesdays and Fridays, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. So I want everybody to subscribe to it. It's if you do subscribe, it's Gas Digital Network. In Godfrey We Trust is my podcast. With the promo code Godfrey, you get a week for free. It's like a white boy station, but it's the guys I know run it in New York. And it's like the podcast situation. Look at the freedom you have now. You got sponsors, you got, it's a freedom that we were afraid of having at one time.
Yeah.
Because you're so used to a network giving you something. You got to let them make the decision for you. That's why Joe Rogan, I love Joe Rogan as far as just what he's done as an entrepreneur and a comedian and just not taking shit from anybody. And if you do Joe Rogan, it's better than doing a nighttime talk show.
Yeah, he got $100 million. He got
100 million. He has 100 million followers too.
Yeah.
And if I do Joe Rogan, my life will change that day. If I do Rogan, not Jimmy Kimmel, not none of that shit. I do Joe Rogan, I will sell more shit on his podcast than anything else, which thank God for that, you know, because there's a lot of talent out here that can't get into the mainstream or whatever,
right.
But they're, well, you got to, here's the one thing about social media. You got to put the work in though. That doesn't change.
Yes.
You have to put, just like you did, you were tired, but you were like,
well, luckily I slept in my makeup and I was like, after you promised, I got to put my wig on. My makeup's already done, but I would jump on live.
You're perfect.
Right
no,
now.
But this is what you got to do. You got to have the tenacity and the belief that you can build. You go, don't worry about that person's 1 million, 2 million followers. They worked. Just focus on your shit. Don't worry about 10 people being over here, because a lot of times people will do that. They'll say, you only got 100 people on your shit. I go, well, then I want 99 people. I'm going to block you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's about, that's what's changed. So a lot of stuff, the world is moving so fast. You know what I mean? Even with the dating thing, with the apps. I mean, I got on Hinge one time. You know Hinge?
I do know what Hinge is. I heard of it.
So I got on Hinge as a gag. My friends say, yo, man, get on Hinge, because you can go to different cities and just get on Hinge and try to meet the girls.
Right.
So I got on Hinge, and I met some women on there, because the thing about Hinge, you have a video camera, so you can see who you're talking to.
Okay.
And I like that. I don't want, I'm like, let me see what the hell she look like. Because, you know, they got their perfect, like, headshot.
Yeah, and they airbrush them and they make them skinnier.
I want to see them in their crib with a damn cap on. And so I'm like, I was on it for a little bit, but then I got kicked off because they thought it was a fake account.
Mm.
Because people was like, somebody's using the comedian Godfrey's account. I said, it's me. It's me. They're like, why are you on there? I said, because it's a pandemic and it's easy. But I got kicked out twice.